ジャギ様から盗み取った北斗神拳、とくと味合わせてやるわ。
Well, hello everybody, welcome to a new video. My name is Midway and I hope you're doing alright today. As you can see, we got a new camera. Thanks to you, everybody that's supporting the channel over on here on YouTube as well on Twitch. So yeah, if you're not subscribed yet, please do so and like the video so we can keep building it up. It goes a massive way, as you can see, to make these kind of upgrades. And now we can just get into the video. Hello everybody, welcome to the video. My name is Midway and today we're looking at the most recent changes to Holy Paladin that happened on the most recent build for the Dragonflight beta. So first we have Judgment being changed from 95.1% of spell power down to 63.4%, which is the amount that we have right now in Shadowlands. So what happened is at some point they decided to buff Judgment's damage a little bit. I think this is making up for the fact that they are taking away one of the core aspects of Judgment for Holy Paladins, and that is that once you throw Judgment onto something and then you Holy Shock or Crusader Strike it, that Holy Shock or Crusader Strike would cause to produce 30% increased damage. So that Holy Shock or Crusader Strike would do a little bit more damage. That is no longer a thing in Dragonflight, and therefore they thought, oh, maybe we're making up for it. It doesn't seem like they liked the idea too much. They brought it down to what it used to be. There's a separate thing in the PTR, which I am live on right now, where when you throw a Judgment, you apply a debuff that causes your next Holy Power ability to do a little bit more damage, which in this case would only be Shield of the Righteous. But what I said about Holy Shock and Crusader Strike no longer applies. Now they also nerfed the Retribution Aura. This version of Retribution Aura in Dragonflight causes you to gain Seraphim once somebody falls below 50% HP, and it used to be for 6 seconds. Now it's down to 4 seconds. As Holy Paladins, we probably wouldn't really be using this anyway, but there was a chance that we could switch to Retribution Aura randomly to maybe get a proc of Seraphim and then back to Devo. That is now looking a lot less likely because of this nerf. It's just a few GCDs. Let's say you would only get 2 GCDs within the Seraphim window if you're switching into Retribution Aura and then back to Devo. So that's quite the nerf. Then we got some more stuff for Holy Paladin. There's a bunch of prot stuff, but the most important thing for Holy Paladin as well is the buff to Off Dusk and Dawn. This is one of the keystones or capstones they're calling them nowadays on the Dragonflight talents. On the left side, to be specific, right here. It's not on the Holy Paladin tree, by the way, it's on the Paladin tree, so we are all getting access to it. But what's being done to it is that the duration of the buffs you get has been increased from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, therefore making it easier to keep the uptime of this buff as close as possible to 100%. So this is the talent that makes you have to play a little bit of an awkward way, where you gotta go all the way to 5 Holy Power and then try to go all the way down to 0 and bounce back and forth between 5 and 0, 5 and 0, so you can keep up these two buffs. The buffs are damage and healing increased by 6% and damage taken reduced by 4%. So those two things are quite welcome, and if you are able to do that, bouncing between 5 and 0 Holy Power, those are pretty much free buffs. There's also been quite a big change to Seal of Order, which is the talent that's just below of Dusk and Dawn. So those are like the two capstones that would usually go together. And what Seal of Order does is that whenever you have the buff from Dawn or Dusk, so either the buff from reaching 5 Holy Power or the buff from going down to 0 Holy Power, you would also gain additional effects. In this case, if you've ever gotten to 5 Holy Power, you would also get a 10% increased damage and healing, which means that you would add up all the way to 16% increased damage and healing with these two buffs altogether for 15 seconds. That's huge. 16% increased damage and healing. And most importantly, increased damage. That's huge. It's huge even for Mythic Plus. And then they've also changed this thing where when you were in Dusk, so you went down to 0 Holy Power, you were getting 10% increased armor, but you also did Flash of Light heal for 10% more. That's now been changed to Holy Power generating abilities cooling down 10% faster. This is massive. This is also bringing up a lot of questions in my mind, like for example, what happens with abilities like Divine Toll, like Bestow Faith, even Arcane Torrent, anything that might generate any amount of Holy Power. Is it going to be affected by this? And honestly, I don't think so. We cannot test this right now on the PTR. It's not working. This buff is literally not working and not showing up at all. In fact, I don't have it pick it up right now, but let me just pick it up in a second and I'll show you. Whenever I go all the way up to 5 or 0 Holy Power, I only really get the buff from Off Dusk and Dawn. So Let me apply my beacons so I can heal myself. Which, by the way, is a little bit weird. But this talent, where it says casting Flash of Light or Holy Light on your beacon target grants 1 holy power. I don't even have it, yet I'm still healing myself and getting holy power. Does that mean that I get 2 holy power? I think it's just been a little bit of a fuck up on their side. Let me actually switch that and see what happens for a moment. I'm actually kind of curious. Is this even working? Or am I gonna get 2 holy power now? There's a lot of things that are very funky, and we're gonna get into that in a minute, but let's see. We go now and go all the way to 0 holy power, and you'll see I only get the buff of Blessing of Dusk from getting all the way down to 0 holy power, damage taken reduced by 4%. I do not get the buff out of Seal of Order. That would be 10% increased armor as well as 10% faster cooldown generation from my holy power generating abilities. So let me heal myself for a second. I should still get only 1 holy power. In fact, I'm still only getting 1 holy power, so I don't really know what's going on with this talent right here. It's not doing anything. Basically, I'm already getting the functionality of this talent without even having it picked up. We'll see. There's a lot of funky stuff about the talents. A lot of stuff is broken, not working, or even not implemented. So the state of the PTR for Holy Paladin right now is very questionable. But let me go all the way to 5 holy power in a moment, and we'll see that I get the buff from of Dawn. And there we go, Blessing of Dawn. I get 6% increased damage and healing done, but I don't get the buff from Seal of Order. So that's not even implemented. We cannot see the way this works or what the specifics of the changes to the faster cooldown rate for holy power generation abilities is even supposed to be. Alright, so let's focus now on the PTR. There's a couple silly things that I want to show you, namely the fact that this talent right here, Aspirations of Divinity, it's a really silly bug, but it basically gives you a primary stat whenever you Crusader Strike something. It can stack up all the way up to 3 stacks. You can see the buff right there. I have 2 stacks right now, and I'm able to keep it up 100% of the time. The thing is, it is giving me intellect. If you can see here, I'm dropping it now and I lost intellect. When I use it, I do get intellect, but whenever you look at the tooltip, it says I'm gaining strength. Just a minor bug, but it's a silly thing that I thought it was kind of stupid. Now, another thing that I kind of didn't really believe it was going to work this way, and it's really disappointing, is Seal of the Crusader. The way it works, it has 4 procs per minute, and it can only really be active on 1 target at a time. You can see right there I apply the debuff. I only have 1 stack of the talent, so it's only costing it to take 5% increased holy damage. So you can apply it with any of your attacks. According to the talent, you can see your attacks have a chance to cause your target to take 5% increased holy damage, can go all the way up to 10, but it's any attack, it doesn't have to be holy damage. Unfortunately, this only applies to 1 target at a time, as I said, and therefore the damage potential you can get from this talent is really disappointing. I thought you could actually apply this to everybody at the same time. It would just mean do more damage, basically, period. Not the case. It's only active on 1 target at a time. It bounces between targets whenever the proc happens, and it's really not that great. I just think that going left side is going to provide more damage together with Off Dusk and Dawn and Seal of Order, but that's some builds that we can check out where we can possibly gain both capstones if we spec properly. But we cannot spec into that stuff right now because we are only level 60 on the PTR right now, and therefore we cannot do a full build. We'll do that in the beta in a moment. I do have beta right now, but I wanted to check out the PTR because I got this before, and therefore let me just keep on moving with this. Now, another cool thing that I found out, and by cool I mean absolutely disgusting, is the fact that we do no longer have a magic dispel. You heard me right, there's no magic dispel. We do have cleanse toxins because I spec'd into it, but this only allows you to remove poisons and diseases. If you look at the spellbook right now, or either Holy Paladin or whatever, there is no cleanse. The good old cleanse, which I immediately removed from my bars even, it's not there. There's no spell to remove any magic debuffs. I got a lot of all these passives from the talent tree, but there is no spell to remove magic debuffs. Either I'm missing something huge, or this is just absolutely disgusting. I hope they change this. I don't really know if they did anything about magic dispels, but if we are absolutely not going to be able to remove magic debuffs, what is this? Like, we already didn't have Curse Spell, now it's just going to be Omega Ultra Scuffed, I don't know. Let me know if there's something I'm missing out, but this just looks like pretty bad for us, Holy Paladins. Yeah, look at this shit right now. This is from 8.1, this is what it was before, and 10.0, for some reason they've changed something. It's just nothing really changing here, but when you go to the most recent build, it's just not saying requires Holy Paladin. It literally says requires Paladin, so I don't know if they've just changed something. It's gone for now. I don't know what the plan is. Now we got our kick. You can see right there I'm spec'd into Rebuke. Let me just apply the changes real quick as well, but we do have the kick. I'm gonna go ahead and just use it. It works as you would expect it. Nothing special about it. It's just a spell you have now. Cool stuff. We are able to now, as Holy Paladins, bring a kick to any sort of scenario, but mainly just gonna be Mythic Plus. You can just use it right there. Nothing too crazy about it. Now, there's a lot of other funky stuff, specifically with the Holy Spectre right now. We are expecting a major overhaul of the Holy Spectre. It's one of the ones that's been unchanged for the longest now, I do believe, but there's definitely things that are really funky about it, and one of them, for example, is the fact that Blessing of Summer is never rotating. I think this was already known quite well, but Blessing of Summer right now always stays as Blessing of Summer, so whenever you use it, you are always just gonna keep on getting Blessings of Summer. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be the case, but it does say that it's supposed to turn to Autumn after use. That's just a tooltip right now. Yeah, it's supposed to be the whole Blessings or Season, whatever that's called, the Night Fae ability, Blessing of Seasons, I believe it is, or is it just supposed to be the Blessing of Summer? I have no idea, but right now it's just Blessing of Summer forever. I can just use it after the cooldown is done, which is pretty cool, honestly. I think this actually would be pretty powerful for Mythic Plus. It would always bring a bunch of damage for every single pack. Would they be able to buff any of the DPSs that have cooldowns ready? So that I'm all for that, honestly, but I don't really know if that's the case, if it's supposed to be like that or not. Probably not, really. Now, there's other stuff that's not yet implemented that is kind of weird. Now, for example, this stuff with wings, the second rank of wings, really, that would theoretically stack up with the rank of just 20% increased damage and healing. This other rank would make it go all the way up to 40% increased damage and healing. Not yet implemented, we cannot test it out. Same thing goes for this little buff right here for the increased mastery during wings. It's not yet implemented, we cannot see this live just yet. Other stuff that's a little bit weird, also not yet implemented. This buff right here, whenever you use... sorry if you heard that, that's just somebody subbing onto YouTube, thank you very much. Whenever somebody spends Holy Power onto Lights of Dawn, that would increase the healing of the next Word of Glory by 5%, up to 45%. Not yet implemented, we cannot test it out. So there's a lot of stuff like this still not even in the game. Other funky stuff that I do not like whatsoever is the placement of the beacons in regards to this talent, like right here, Focal Light. This talent increases the healing transfer from Beacon of Light by 20% when you have 2 stacks. Now, this is not a buff, this is not a nerf either, they just separated some of the ranks of Beacon of Light into different talents. So Beacon of Light right now on retail is already at 50% healing transfer. If you're not spec'ing to that now, it would only do 30%. Right now you can see it says 50 on Beacon of Virtue. It's naturally 30 on Beacon of Faith. When you have 2 beacons, it would be 30 and 30. In retail now, if you're not spec'ing to this, you would just get 30% healing transfer. So it's a weird placement as well as a nerf if you're not picking this, so there's no way you're not picking this. This, by the way, also affects Beacon of Virtue. You can see it now says 50. If I was not spec'ing to that, it would say 30. But for the sake of not destroying my entire tree, I won't do that right now. Another thing about Beacon that is extremely weird is the fact that I'm still getting Holy Power whenever I heal myself with Flash of Light or Holy Light, which is, by the way, also a talent they introduced where it says casting Flash of Light or Holy Light on your beacon grants you 1 Holy Power. So whenever I spec into that, I don't actually gain 2 Holy Power. I simply gain the same that if I wasn't spec'd into it. So this is right now in Wowhead, you can see it's rank 2. So this is Beacon of Light on Shadowlands. As you can see, it also transfers 50% of the amount healed, but it says rank 2 casting Flash of Light or Holy Light grants you 1 Holy Power. So this is already in place in Shadowlands. It just seems that they haven't fully finished breaking down some of the spells and implementing them as their talents. So even if I'm spec'd into this, I'm still only getting 1 Holy Power, and if I unspec from it, you saw I was already getting 1 Holy Power. So things like this are just not in place. Also, look at the minimap, I still have the Covenant Sanctum icon, so things are just looking a little bit weird altogether. So yeah, we have the new talent, Barrier of Faith, which is also doing something kind of funky. I need to find somebody that I can heal among the guys right here. So let me try it out. I need to find some sort of damage. Give me a second. So there's something extremely weird going on, and that is that I cannot heal anything besides myself. And I'm literally using the spells off of the books right now. As you can see, I'm using Holy Light onto this training dummy that I have selected, and the healing is literally happening on myself. There's just no way I can actually heal something else. I don't really know what's going on. I'm not using any macros or anything. This is literally PTR, absolutely using stuff off of the spellbook, and I cannot target anything, and it's just like automatically healing myself. So I wanted to try and heal something else, but as you can see, it seems to be impossible right now. It might just be an error on my side, but really what I want to show you is a new talent, Barrier of Faith. It's kind of weird out here because you cannot see it properly, but anyways, it's a buff that it's applied onto whoever you use it on for 18 seconds, and any healing you do to that target with either Holy Light or Flash of Light during that time, it's going to be converted into an Absorb Shield. As you can see right there, it says 0 healing accumulated. The reason for that is because it only counts the actual healing done and not the overhealing, which is kind of weird. Yeah, it only really counts healing done, so if you're overhealing, the overhealing will never count for the absorb. Therefore, you need to actually be doing healing for this talent to be useful. In theory, it's supposed to be something where you use it on the tank and you're spamming him or her with Flash of Light or Holy Light, and therefore you get a lot of value out of the absorb. But really, it's not doing the greatest if you are not actually having the tank be low HP or healing them for real. This is just absolutely useless. I thought it was going to be a little bit better, but just that alone makes it less interesting. Also, something weird is that, well, I cannot really heal anything, but I did manage to find somebody I could heal yesterday. And yeah, I was able to use Light of the Martyr, but it was not damaging me. I was taking no damage out of it, and I thought, well, maybe that is because I'm not actually healing with it, and it's only damaging me based on the amount of damage that, or the amount of healing that I'm doing. So if I do try and find Light of the Martyr on my books, which by the way, I think I'm not even spec'd into. I'm not even spec'd into it. Let me just spec into it for a second, see if I can try and spam it on myself. But as you can see, I'll take no damage from it if everything's working as I thought it would be. So I can't use it on myself. I can't spam anything else, and you can never really use it on yourself, can you? Nah, you can't actually. But I can't heal anything. It's just weird as shit. I don't know. There we go. I can heal this guy. Okay. It's doing something funky, but let me just use it from the spellbook. It's like I don't have a target. I don't know what it is, but look at that. I use it, and it makes me click onto something. Either way, you can see I'm taking no damage from it. I'm taking 0 damage out of Light of the Martyr. It still says takes damage equal to 50% of the healing done. It's not working. It's not doing anything. I don't know what it is. I'm not taking any damage. Funky stuff going on with healing targets, with a lot of the Martyr not working. I don't really know. Other thing that I found a little bit odd, and I don't know if this actually worked this way in retail, I think it might just do so, is Echoing Blessings right here. Whenever you apply Blessing of Freedom onto somebody, they are gonna have increased movement speed. I can't see my movement speed here. I think I have 6, but that's just from my gear. It doesn't show the actual real speed. But yeah, whenever I freedom myself, I only gain the freedom. I don't see the movement speed. I think this has always been the case. I do see a little bit of a trail of light, as you can see there. And once the freedom is gone, the speed or the trail of light is gone. I do believe that might be the talent. Let me actually try that and see without having being spec'd into Echoing Blessings. If I don't see the trail of light, we'll just conclude that then the effect is no longer present because I unspec'd from it. But otherwise, there's no buff to check from. I don't have the add-on that gives me a better look at my stats. I don't really know if it's called Advanced Interface Stats or something like that. But as you can see there, I still have the Trail of Light, so that's just part of the freedom. I don't really know if I have it active or not. Don't really have a clue if it's working or not. Something else that people didn't really figure out, it seemed like to me that there was a lot of questions about it, is the Rule of Law has been nerfed. They took away the increased value of Mastery whenever you have the buff active. They moved away that into this other talent that increases the healing of Word of Glory and Light of Dawn by 5% forever. So they kind of made up for that loss of increased mastery during the window of the buff of Rule of Law by always sugarcoating Word of Glory and Light of Dawn for 5% and always doing a little bit more healing. Is this going to make up for the nerf to the increased mastery? Possibly, I don't really know. It's a matter of seeming and numbers, and I don't really care either way, but that's the replacement is right there. They didn't just absolutely get rid of it and that's it. It is right there. So for now, this is all that I really want to point out. There's a lot of funky stuff, as you could see. Things that are not yet implemented, things that are not really working, things that are just odd. I don't really get if they are supposed to work this way or not. And I think we'll just wait for a little bit. We are expecting a lot of changes, especially to the Holy Spectre, as I already mentioned. And I do have beta right now, so next up we're going to be doing the same video onto beta. If things are looking the same, I would not make a video right off the bat. I will just wait until there's some things changed, because right now I cannot really do a dungeon on the PTR. Things are too stable. It's just not really worth it. And I'll try and do that on the beta at level 70 and show you guys what things are looking like then. And ideally, if things are working there, test out some of the new stuff and really maybe make videos individually on talents or whatever and builds that I think could be kind of cool. But that's it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a little bit of a rundown of what the state of Holy Paladin is on the PTR at the moment, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and otherwise I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.